Hello, my name's Catherine, the Yoga Goblin, and we're going to do another trauma-informed practice today. So what we're going to do is we're going to incorporate some poses that induce a tiny bit of controlled stress, followed by poses that are more relaxing. When you're in the poses that induce just a little bit of stress, I want you to pay attention to the way you're feeling. Pay attention to the way you might breathe differently under a stressful situation, the thoughts that you have, the way your body feels. And practice regulating your stress in these poses. Ways that we have to regulate our stress. Remember, when we breathe slowly, we slow down our breath, we slow down our heart rate, we slow down all the cortisol, the adrenaline, all the stress hormones, the norepinephrine. We can shift our focus. So rather than focusing on how much it stresses us out or might be painful or difficult, we can focus on the things about it that are good. It's making us stronger. It's strengthening our core. We can also regulate our stress through choice. And what I mean by this is you can just choose not to do the pose. If it bothers you, if you have an injury, or even if you don't have a reason at all, this is your choice. This is your body. This is your life. And you get to choose which situations you want to partake in, which stress is good for you and which stress isn't. This applies to these poses. This applies to maybe a toxic relationship or a job that just isn't paying you what they should be paying you. So let's get back here, warm up, and get into it. If you're new here and you don't remember Ujjayi Breath, let's go over that. So we're going to breathe in and out. When you breathe in, I want it to come into your nose, in, down, into the throat, into the lungs, filling both lungs up equally, okay? And you can place your hands on your belly if you want to regulate and see where the air is going, okay? So it'll press your diaphragm down, causing your belly to come out. So let's try that a few times. If you sit up nice and tall and relax your shoulders, you allow more air to come in. Keep your gaze nice and soft, or you can even close your eyes for this part. When you exhale, I want you to draw your belly button all the way back into your spine. Okay, let me take that back. It's not going to reach your spine. There's guts in there. It's just not going to happen. But draw the belly button further back towards the spine to expel all that air. The exhale is the cooling and relaxing part of the breath. The inhale is invigorating. So let's focus on cooling breath. We're breathing nice and slow. We breathe in. When we breathe out, imagine fogging up a mirror, but your mouth is still closed. So let's try this at your own pace. Breathe in, nice, deep breath till you feel nice and full, and then exhale, letting all the air come out. And if you want to take it up a notch, you can practice adding a pause to the top of your breath, like this. So I breathe in, and I pause, and I breathe out. If you're uncomfortable pausing, you don't have to. But if you do start to feel dizzy, I want you to return to breathing normal, because we can hyperventilate. So let's breathe in at your own pace, and if you choose to, pause, and then I'm going to breathe out Go ahead and play around with that for a little bit. And there's one last thing I'll show you today. If you're ready and it feels like the right thing to do, you can breathe in and pause. Breathe out and pause. And that is some of the beginning stages of Ujjayi Breath or ocean breath. And we can do this breathing in any pose. There's a lot of complicated breathing in yoga because that's where your energy comes from, right? That is the pranayama. However, a lot of those you want to be laying down or sitting for. This one, you can do it in warrior pose, you can do it in tree pose, any pose you want, okay? You can do it when you're at work and you're stressed out and you gotta go into the broom closet or whatever. Nice deep breaths in to the lungs, to the belly, and out. Okay? So let's practice connecting our breath. We're gonna warm up the spine, stretching 6 ways. So let's breathe in, hands come up. And we'll go ahead and drop one arm down to the side, reach through the other arm up and over, exhaling. And drift the arm down. Let's go up again, breathing in. Exhale, this time let's go to the other side, drop the arm down. Reach up and over, get a nice stretch in your side. And relax the arm down. Let's go ahead and look over our left shoulder. We're gonna let our head follow our eyes, our neck follow our head, then our shoulders. You can use your hands for leverage here. We're exhaling as we twist, but continue to breathe in this pose. Come back to the center. Let's look over the right shoulder now. Inhale for a nice tall spine, and then exhale as you twist. And come back to the center. I want you to imagine that your rib cage is like a marker, and we're gonna draw a line on the ground. So if you want to, you can place your hands on your knees here. Let's look up, pull the chest forward, and you should feel this like a little bit of a stretch here. Breathe in. And exhale, let's draw the line backwards. Tuck your chin in, pull the spine backwards. And if it feels like the right thing to do, let's do some circles. So now you're drawing a circle on the ground with your chest. And I breathe in here, and I exhale here. Inhale to come forward, exhale to come back. Let's go the other way. All right. From here, let's go ahead and pull our knees in together. We're gonna sweep our feet over to the side and come up onto all fours into a sort of tabletop position. So I want you to make sure that your shoulders are over your elbows or over your wrists as always. We're grounding through our hands here. And if it feels like the right thing to do, let's go ahead and just reach one leg back. Not too hard at all, right? And if you're ready, take the opposite hand and reach out with that. And this, now that we've taken away a little bit of support, it requires a little bit of balance. And notice, it's not terrible, but it is a little less comforting than the position we were in before. So just notice this and breathe through it. Bring your hand and your leg back down. Not too bad, right? Just starting off. Let's go ahead and do the other leg. Reach back through the toe. And if you're ready for it, let's reach out this hand here. Notice any tension, any stress, and let's bring it back down. Not so bad, right? Let's go ahead and sit back in a child's pose. Think about it. And let's come back up into our tabletop pose. This time I want you to tuck your toes underneath. We're going to ground through our hands, and I have the creases of my elbows, right? My elbows are back here, my creases are facing forward, and I'm gonna lift my hips up. And this is gonna be your downward dog. So go ahead and do that now. Ground through your heels if you can. If you can't reach, that's okay. If you're up here, that's just fine. You want to drive the heels towards the ground, and eventually, after practicing like this for some time, you'll get better, but that's not the point today. So notice any stress you might be having here. This is not how we typically rest, right? We have our hips up high, the back of our legs are widening. You might feel a little stress or tension in the arms. And if you can, just breathe through it. Right. And let's come back down to our knees. If you want to, you can come back into child's pose, or you can come up. Maybe your wrists didn't like that very much. You can roll them around. And just take a second to center yourself again. Very little stress. And just because you've been through something much worse doesn't mean that little bits of stress are invalid. Little bits of stress add up throughout the week, and we need to learn to manage those just as much as when we get the big triggered, right? So we have to practice small and go big. So if you're ready, let's come back down to all fours. And let's do it again. We're going to tuck our toes under, lift our hips up. Whether you're on your toes or you're on your heels is fine. You can practice by pedaling here. See if that changes up any of the stress for you. Do you actually enjoy this position? Just breathe through it. And what we're going to do is bring the feet a little bit closer together. And if it feels like the right thing to do and you want to take it up a notch, keep your hips square to the ground. You're going to shift your weight onto your right foot and lift the left foot up. And notice how that changes where you shift your weight, difficulty. Go ahead and place that foot down. And if you're ready, pick the other foot up. Go ahead and place that foot down. Come down to your knees. Shake it out. Notice the relief. Notice how your body feels during and after these poses. Are you ready for more? If you're not ready for more, pause it. But if you're ready for more, let's proceed. So let's go ahead and get back into our tabletop pose. This time we're going to sit back into a child's pose. Notice how this feels. How do your hips feel? How do your hands feel? How does it feel to breathe? And when you're ready, if it feels like the right thing to do, let's move through our hands. Let your hips follow. We're going to lift our chest up. Hips are down on the ground. And now we're in a cobra pose. Still grounding through our hands. Pull your chest forward. Relax your shoulders. And notice the changes in your body. Remember, we can breathe through it. We can shift our focus, or we can just choose not to participate. And all of these are correct answers. You can bend your arms here if that's better for you. You can always modify. Keep the elbows into the side here. But it's much better to be here than up here with your shoulders in your ears. Nice deep breaths. And let's sit back on our heels again in our child's pose. Go ahead and come forward, but this time let's cross our ankles, rock back and sit in a comfortable seat. And from here, let's bring our feet together into our groin. Sit up nice and tall into your butterfly pose. This is pretty relaxing. You should feel a little bit of a stretch in your groin. You could be up here, you could be down here. You could prop yourself up. If you have trouble with your back, that's okay. It's not okay that you have trouble with your back. It's okay if you prop yourself up. And let's inhale here and exhale. Walk the fingertips forward slightly. And you notice there's a little bit of tension. Just a little bit of tension here. Let's breathe through it. And breathe in, come back up. Let's exhale, maybe go a little bit deeper. And inhale, come up. That's not so bad, right? Or is it? I don't know. So let's take one leg and leave it like the way it is. Take the other leg and point your knee towards the ceiling. And we're going to go ahead and crisscross these. And when you're ready, if you're comfortable with it, I want you to do a twist like we did earlier. But this time it's going to be a little bit deeper because you have your leg up here and you're going to really squeeze the air out of your body. So if this is uncomfortable for you, remember we can either breathe through it, we can modify it, we can shift our focus, or we can choose not to do this pose, right? So here we are. Try to keep your hip down towards the ground. I know I'm lifted up a little bit, and we'll breathe in for a nice tall spine. Exhale and look over the shoulder of the knee that's pointed towards the ceiling. Same side. You can hug that knee towards you. You can shift your arm around for leverage. But let's exhale and twist. Looking over that shoulder. Continue to breathe. And inhale, come back to the center. Think about, was that even really stressful? And let's do it one more time. Let's breathe in, nice and tall. Exhale and twist. Come back to the center. And let's go ahead and change our legs. Breathe in, nice and tall. Exhale and twist. Notice the changes in your body. Notice where it's tight. And just breathe through it. And come back to the center. And once again, breathe in for a nice tall spine. Exhale and twist. And come back to the center. Very good. Let's go ahead and relax. I think that's enough for today. So throughout the day, when you find yourself in tiny stressful situations, whether it be a traffic light, or you come home to a mess, or you didn't make it to the DMV in time, notice how your body feels and realize what you can do in this situation to regulate your nerves. We're going to come to a comfortable seat and I'm going to show you something called Gyan Mudra. Now you probably see this in the movies all the time. And all it is when you see them, they take their finger and their thumb together and they rest it palms up on their knees. This is a real thing. And what this is meant to do is bring your focus back inwards and calm yourself. That's palms up. Palms down is you're connecting with the energy of the universe, which is a good feeling, but not what we came here for today. We're trying to calm ourselves down. That's a little intense, right? So let's sit up nice and tall, get comfortable, relax your shoulders, palms up. If you so choose, you don't have to partake in this if you don't want to. Do realize though that this comes from an ancient 5,000-year-old religious practice that we're using to regulate our nerves, and let's be thankful for that. And that these things have been made available for us to have a better life. So go ahead and relax, soften the gaze, and just focus on your breath for now. And if you will, I would like you to imagine that there's a pond full of fish. And for some reason, you've decided to put your face down into the water. And imagine all these fish back and forth, swimming around you. It's stressful. It's confusing. They're bumping you. And now I want you to just imagine pulling back away from the water. And there you see the fish still. They're still going about their business. They're still there. They still exist. But you've removed yourself. You still exist. You're still valid. But you've just taken some space for yourself. Picture these fish as your thoughts. Your boss at work. Your mother-in-law. Your next door neighbor. Anything that might be stressing you out. All these things are there. They exist. And so do you. But you can remove yourself. Put some distance between you and these people emotionally. And just take some space for yourself to breathe. Slowly blink your eyes open, wiggle your fingers and your toes. Thank you so much for joining me today and taking some time to work on yourself. When you work on yourself, you make your small corner of the universe that much better. I'm so proud of you. So thank you for that. My name is Catherine, the Yoga Goblin. I do free videos every week. And I do live classes on Moxie.xyz, so if you want to look for me there and we can get together and talk about your personal needs, I'd be happy to do that for you. So until then, I'll see you next time.